This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com. Just a quick reminder, tomorrow morning, Friday morning, the 28th at 10 a.m., I will be having a live interview with Vince Russo. I won't get into the Who Killed WCW series other than the episode this week was by far the worst, episode 4. There's reviews on this channel I did of all the episodes. This week's was boring as hell. Raw was up this week against the Stanley Cup final, did a 0.61. Dynamite that last week only did a 0.16. They were claiming summer weather was the reason for the low rating, as if there was never summer weather before in the history of wrestling shows. They were up this week 0.22 rating, which is not good, but it's better than the 0.16 rating they did the previous week before. By the way, there's 19.62 million people in the New York City area, and their pay-per-view this weekend, to the last report I read, hadn't cracked 10,000 tickets in a metropolitan area of almost 20 million. Hulk Hogan broke his silence today doing an interview with News Nation where they fed him basically softball questions. Part of the agreement must have been that they weren't going to talk about his son's recent DWI uh, sentence, I guess, which is a year of probation. This was after he had caused brain damage to a kid from a previous driving while having alcohol in his blood incident. Hulk Hogan did say something interesting, though. Uh, it was clear in this he is supporting Trump, although he didn't flat out say it. But he didn't deny. Again, he was saying more that he'd be a good vice president. He was still floating around that old crap that he always talks about being president. But he did say he would like to see The Rock or Jesse Ventura run for president. So this is actually the first time. And you know what? People will say I hate Hulk Hogan. I just don't like some of his deception. But I mean, I watched No Holds Barred like 30 times or more. I watched Suburban Commando a million times. I even watched Mr. Nanny a couple of times. I was a Thunder in Paradise fan. I saw him every time he was in this area when I was a kid and even drove to Montreal for WCW. So it's not like I hate him. I just, some of his lies annoy me and some of the way he treated Billy Graham annoys me, but I am still a fan. But why I was bringing this up was because of all the interviews I've seen of him, and I've seen pretty much all of his interviews. I've reviewed some of them on here. I've never heard him put Jesse Ventura over, and this was the very first interview he ever put Jesse Ventura over. I would like to see Jesse run for president, but I don't think it's going to happen because he's another guy that said he's going to do it. Not as bad as Hogan. He didn't actually formally announce it like Hogan did on Jay Leno, where Jay Leno asked him, "Is this serious?" and he said yes, and it ended up being nothing. But I don't see Jesse doing it. But he has been in talks with WWE. It's interesting now that Hogan is still under some sort of agreement with WWE, and Jesse might be. Would that have to do with maybe they're finally gonna bury the hatchet after decades of burying each other? That is about it for the news. Gabby Tuft, who I interviewed last night, for Rick Bassman, who's representing Gabby, was in the New York Times and was in the Daily Mail today. So a lot of news there. Um, Best of luck to them. Not my taste in style of wrestling or style of character, but seems like a nice enough person. Betrayed by Sin, thought it was a great interview. There you go. And I got some big ones coming up. And I'll just give one last plug before I sign out today to GNW Schools Out Slams featuring Renee Dupree, who I interviewed yesterday as well. Angel Medina, Pretty Paul Roma, Magnificent Mario Mancini, Jack Kilby, women's wrestling. Not that women wrestler that's on that's one version of the poster. I'm accidentally putting up the outdated one. There's two women wrestlers on this event that I forget their names, but that particular one got a 3-day tour somewhere and backed out. Anyways, folks, hope you have a great night. Please give this video a thumbs up, and we are going to try and live stream Great North Wrestling Schools Out Slam, which schools out here in Canada tomorrow, or at least in Ontario. So it's a good way if you're a parent, only 2 hours from Ottawa, 2 hours from Toronto, drive down to Napanee Saturday night at 7 p.m. Strathcona Paper Center. Tickets at ticketweb.ca. More event info at thehannibaltv.com. And of course, August 31st. I'm really looking forward to this one. I was actually talking to Rick Bassman about it last night. Rick Bassman himself, is considering going down to this event. I'm not saying he's going to be there, but he says he's very good friends with Katie Lee Burchill, and he might go down and be involved in this event somehow. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. Have a great evening.